Jenny didn't want to go in. "That isn't on the list," she said. "It looks creepy in there." "Come on," Mike said. He held her hand. He pushed the door open. A little bell jingled. Grey cobwebs fluttered in the draught that came in with them. Jenny held Mike's arm. They stood in silence, waiting for someone to appear. There was no sound from the dark corridor at the back of the shop. Mike dragged a rusty old mangle to one side. His elbow caught a painted biscuit tin, which fell to the floor with a loud clatter. It made Jenny jump. "Someone must have heard that," Mike said. He reached across for the painting.
Dead Man's Bay is the perfect horseshoe bay, sheltered from the wind by two headlands. David and I swam from the yacht and wandered up the soft white sand beach. We found a tiny beach bar and a jacuzzi set in a rock, but there was not a soul there. We had the beach to ourselves. It was such a lovely place, we stayed all afternoon. I later found out that we had accidentally swum up to Honeymoon Bay.
Putting the bins out, or not putting the bins out. I had to resort to my back aching. I don't like relying on that too often. If I can't lift the bins, how can I lift my dinghy off the rack and row out to the boat? Explaining that it's a different kind of lifting and that rowing is good for backs doesn't cut any water, or whatever the expression is.
Kalia Bat Olam. Kalia, I loved you before you arrived. I asked for you and he said yes. Within no time, you signaled to me, "Mom, on my way I am." I knew it was you. You made me so happy. You made me complete. I kept a big secret. I didn't want to share this great joy with whomever was there. He couldn't see me, and I didn't care. The rest of them ran, they were all so scared. He couldn't come near me, he said. He said, "You're cold. I'm scared. There's a frozen white energy swirling around you," he said. But I was so happy, so cool and complete. No matter what happened, no matter what said, I knew it was you. So joyous, I did not share. I loved you before you arrived. I felt you when you were a twinkle in my womb, a stirring in my innings, heralding you're there. I knew you'd arrived. It was you, I was sure. We sat in the car when I felt you arrive. I turned around. He was sitting behind me. I announced, "The soul I invited. The soul, it's here. It's inside me." I knew you were there. I felt you. I knew, and I waited for a sign I could see. Not long before happened. Not long I did see. You came to show me. a mother I'll be.
A simple walk to the shops and back. My mind's bombarded, it's under attack. An advert here and a good deal there. For a problem drinker, there's little care. As I pass the restaurants, pubs and clubs, with the thoughts of drink arising, I see my world for what it is, revolving an event horizon. I'm safe on the edge and the void can't touch me, but a sip is a step that will let the black hole crush me. I dodge the bullets and make it home, but I soon discover I'm not alone. How it got there, I'll never know, but I take a sip and wait for the show. Take your time and space it out, just this bottle, my mind will shout. A familiar fire gives warmth from within, but my mind soon twists to every sin. Too late now though, I'm in its grip, deeper and darker with every sip. Time warps, reality and reason leave, wallowing in self-pity, for only myself I grieve. Deeper I dive and the black becomes blacker, sent to oblivion by my hijacker. There comes a point when there's nothing left, when nothing matters and all's bereft. Isolated away, I'm that singularity, but wanting to survive, I have a burst of clarity. I break out from the madness, but witness my carnage, vodka bottles and piles of garbage. I look around with a sense of failure at immoral signs and paraphernalia. Messages show of those I brought pain, for the ones I love I feel guilt and shame. I battle through the next 2 days, to drink or not it could go both ways. For the paranoia, fear and anxiety, it seems that alcohol's the only remedy. I make it through and time settles the mayhem, but the ones I love I still constantly worry them, because the cycle's complete but I'm back where I started, on the edge of the void where I last departed.
I climb quietly out of my bunk so as not to disturb other sleeping crew, put on a bikini and climb the steps through the hatchway to be greeted by the warmth of morning sunshine. I leap off the stone bathing platform into crystal blue water. As I surface, the distinctive sounds of a steel band drift across the water from a palm-fringed beach. Leftover music from last night's beach party that carried on till the early hours of this morning. Swimming the 200 metres to the beach is invigorating, and I'm rewarded with fresh pineapple juice and coffee, sitting on the sand with my toes in the water. What a lovely way to start my day.
Bloody future. There will be blood, but not enough to need plasters. She will be extracting minute slivers of glass from her fingertips. She will soothe her tender finger pads in the softness of her mouth. The tiny cuts will continue to sting, but she will remain excited as she tastes the life force droplets. It will always be this way. She is resigned to it now. Even after 15 years, the glass artist suffers for her art.
Waves growl and snap at the sea wall. The sun paints a peach-coloured wash over the clouds and fading turquoise sky.
HMS Rhone now lies on her side in 50 feet of water. It's almost as if she sank recently rather than 150 years ago. When the sea is calm here, the water is beautifully clear. Amazing that so much of her is still intact. The forward mast, rigging and sails, tattered and torn, resting on the seabed. I had a strange, eerie feeling snorkeling over her. I needed to leave the place. A chill goes down my spine. My arms come up in goosebumps when I remember looking down on her remains at rest in the depths of the seabed.
Danger is imminent. The world sleeps, assured of my strength, knowledge, and morals. I don't have time to think. I don't have time to think if I'm up for this job. If I stop to think, I will cry. Take a deep breath. Danger is imminent. Start reassembling now. This task must be done diligently, quickly, and silently. I am doing none of the above. Assemble. No time for deep breaths. Tears in my eyes. Stop. I'm a soldier. Hurry, soldier. Hurry. Where's your gun? It is in bits in front of me, in front of my eyes. Danger. Assemble at any cost. No time for crying. Assemble your gun, soldier. Now. The enormity of it all continues to overwhelm me as I begin putting my weapon of destruction back together again. I know how. I do. I have to know how to assemble an Uzi machine gun. But why? Why?
I looked into my wife's beautiful eyes. Do horses eat meat? She asked me. Not normally, I told her. Mine did, she said.
As I looked down the long, steep slope that disappeared through the spruce trees, I remember thinking, we can't chicken out now. The whiteness of the snow glistened in the moonlight. We threw caution to the wind, lifted our feet onto the runners, and let gravity take us. It was dark out there. Nothing moved, except for the occasional thud of snow falling off a branch onto the snow below. Between screams of delight, we both laughed so much that on an unexpected bend we fell off into a snowdrift. Was that for real? Had we just travelled the Oslo Olympic toboggan course? We wanted to go back up to the top and do it all over again. Please.
We let the afternoon drift by and dreamed of how we were and how we want to be.
Having to manoeuvre a dinghy back to our mooring usually made us all cautious about having had one too many, and I suspect the luxury of a launch taxi service allowed a few of the crews to let their hair down. The launch back to the yacht was easier than a dinghy, but once at our mooring we still had to negotiate the aft ladder onto the deck. It was tricky when sober, but much more difficult after a cocktail or two. As Tom was opening the hatch down to the main cabin, we heard merriment and laughter from the direction of a neighbouring yacht. This was closely followed by a scream and a splash. The inevitable had happened. Someone had fallen in.
Indoors, what a pain. And did they say rain? 'Cause just out of reach is my favourite beach, and it's so much more fun being outside in the sun. But today there is rain, and I search for the gain. Well, they say nothing's in vain, and I'm getting things done inside without sun. And you never can tell, future stories might swell. The silence is bliss, yet how I do miss life in the raw when you open the door. But right now I'm confined, and trying to be kind to me as I search peace of mind. My pages are primed, and I'm safe and I'm dry. I shan't ask the why, just letting life fly from the inside.
One evening, after we'd returned from a day's field work, my friend Dave and I climbed a nearby hill and built a cairn on the summit. We ran back down in the fading light to supper and forgot about our cairn. The next day's work was planned on the dining table in the light of a paraffin lamp. We were up early as usual and headed off to our allocated areas of work. The sun was going down when we drove back into camp. Davy Hahn, our National Service cook, was visibly relieved to see us. He had his rifle slung over his shoulder, and he kept glancing nervously up towards the hills. "What's up, Davy?" somebody said. "Why are you carting your rifle about?" He pointed upwards towards the rim of the surrounding hills. "There's been a bloke standing up there watching me all day," he said. "I've been expecting some of his mates to appear at any moment."
The evening was beautiful, the sea calm, the air balmy and warm, and yacht crews dinghied between the boats sharing drinks and even food. Sitting on the aft deck, looking up at the stars, I was feeling blissfully content when there was a splash behind me and something broke the surface of the still water. "That was a dorsal fin," David announced. We all froze. I'd just been thinking how a quick dip off the stern in the moonlight would be a lovely way to cool down. A buzz went around the boats, and a radio crackled into life, with the other yachts reporting sightings of a dorsal fin. Then out of the dark a voice shouted, "It's dolphins!" There was an audible sigh of relief across the water, but I still decided not to have that evening swim in the moonlight.